it is intentional that our book is called Reframe and Reclaim. You know, being a counselor, a mental health therapist, reframing in counseling or in psychology is taking a perspective and shifting it. Now, it's not changing what's happening, it's just changing how we think about it. And how we think about things really does change how we feel about things. And so, if I'm saying I have to go to the grocery store or I get to go buy groceries today, I'm actually gaining food and resources and getting to choose what I want in my home rather than having another task I have to complete.
Welcome to Reframe and Reclaim. We are Courtney Huckabee, a psychotherapist,
and Jen Harris, an interior designer
who have teamed up to reflect,
challenge,
and reframe your mindset in relationship with your personal belongings. Find the reframe.
Start your reclaim.
Welcome to another episode of Reframe and Reclaim. I'm Jen Harris.
And I'm Courtney Huckabee.
And we talk a lot about decluttering, and sometimes decluttering can get a bad rep. It's all, I have to get rid of things. I have to make decisions and, let go of things, and what I'm giving up, all this, and it just gets negative, right? And so today we're going to be looking at how to reframe that. And instead of thinking of these are the things I'm giving up, look at this is what I'm gaining, right? So we've talked a lot on the podcast. Whenever we work with clients, one of the biggest takeaways is after the process, after they have, let go of all these things and done this negative, seemingly negative work, they feel so good. Like they feel lighter, they feel better without all the stuff. And so that stuff was really holding them back or holding them down and taking an emotional, physical, financial toll that they weren't even acknowledging. So today we're going to try and help you figure out how to make that switch into, instead of what am I giving up, to what am I gaining. So Courtney, I'm sure you see this a lot in your practice.
Yes.
Can you give us some insights or what you've seen?
Yes. And I will say it is intentional that our book is called Reframe and Reclaim. You know, being a counselor, a mental health therapist, reframing in counseling or in psychology is taking a perspective and shifting it. Now, it's not changing what's happening, it's just changing how we think about it. And how we think about things really does change how we feel about things. And so, if I'm saying I have to go to the grocery store or I get to go buy groceries today, I'm actually gaining food and resources and getting to choose what I want in my home rather than having another task I have to complete. And so when we talk about I have to give things up, I have to let things go, I have to do all of this mental and emotional work.
Sounds exhausting.
It can be exhausting, and work is usually going to be worth it, though. The work you put in is what you're going to get out of it. We've talked a lot about this in life. You reap what you sow, and hard work is hard earned, and all those things. So, in our reframe and reclaim, when we're talking about I have to let go of something, there's this idea of holding on to this is keeping me safe, or it's giving me comfort, or it's making me not making me have to make decisions that are tough. But when we choose how to reframe that, I'm choosing how to decide how my space needs to function and how I want to feel. That's how we start with the reframe and reclaim process is reflection. How do you want to feel in this space? What are your hopes for this space? And what needs to change and what stays the same? Because in our process, it's not being minimalist. It's not getting rid of everything. It's not allowing you to have what you want and love. It's just making sure that what isn't working here, we're trying to figure out how to get unstuck from that.
Yes. And to me, like one of the big takeaways from that maybe this is too dramatic. I don't know. But to me, it almost feels like going from a victim mentality of like, oh, I have all this stuff to do and all this stuff around me, and I just don't want to do it, to a place of power where it's like, no, I'm choosing to make my space this way. I'm the one controlling the situation and choosing how I'm going to either have my day, what my attitude will be, or how I want my space to feel.
And I will say, it is overwhelming. It can create burnout, and decision fatigue is a real thing.
Yes.
So mentally and emotionally, we can get blocked, but not making a decision is still a decision.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, I just don't know where to start. And I think that is the hardest place. For me, I
Yes.
don't know where to start when it comes to the gym. Like, I used to work out and I know what exercises help different muscle groups, but you know, you have to really spend 3 hours at the gym every day. No. So starting sometimes is just putting tennis shoes on and going for a walk, or starting sometimes is, I'm going to, put on some workout clothes. And that's how we start the reframe and reclaim process. So
Yeah.
I think it does start a lot with what's working, what's not working, and then whatever's not working, what could be different, and then starting with that one little step.
Yes.
I think with the clients that we've seen throughout our book and the clients we've worked with and after our book, a lot of people are saying it's going to take too much effort,
too much time.
too much time. It's going to be too hard. And a lot of times doing life on your own, making decisions on your own is hard.
Yes.
That's where we come in.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have me and Jen, get a friend, get a family member, just having somebody there just to like bounce things off of can just be really supportive.
Well, and you see this in our case studies, but even if someone's there just to take that item from you and put it in the appropriate box, whether it's donate or trash or keep, it's extremely helpful, because then the decision fatigue doesn't come on quite so quickly.
Right.
Your brain's not getting distracted of like putting something in a box. And it's like, oh, that other thing I just put away. Maybe I should keep that. Why did I put it in there? And second guess yourself. It's done. It's gone. And definitely phone a friend. Yep.
Well, and I will say again that reframe is I have to do this. Well, there's usually that mentality of this is too much, this is overwhelming, this is burdening. So if I start to make decisions towards that, then that burden gets a little smaller each day. So even if you're working with like one junk drawer, or you're working with one box in the closet, just starting there and doing one thing at a time, that practice gives you a little bit of that experience to say I can do that, and I did accomplish this, and I'm inspired sometimes or motivated to do a little bit more.
Yes, and then definitely start with things that don't have a strong emotional pull. For some people, it's like the junk drawer, like it's purely utilitarian, right? For some people, it's a sock drawer, because I've got a whole bunch of mismatched or missing socks, so I can easily go through that. Some it's, pencils that or pens that don't work anymore, and pencils that I have too many of, so maybe it's some office supplies. So think of the areas in your home or in your space where it's easy to get a jump start. Maybe it's your car. That's one confined space that you could get done fairly easily. So
Yeah, and I will say when it comes to the reframe, I have to versus what will I gain? So what am I going to gain with this? A lot of people are saying I'm gaining like lightness, relief, like this idea of this is finished and I want to keep it in this organized fashion, or I like how it functions. It helps me prepare for my day better. It helps me feel better when I wake up to see that space. um, I just feel more peaceful when I'm in that space. So we're gaining a lot by doing this work, but you don't have to do it alone, and you don't have to make all the decisions at one time.
Yes. And we've actually heard that people gain time, and we know this. They've done studies that the average person spends 2.5 days or 60 hours a year looking for misplaced items. And that comes out to about 10 minutes a day, right? I mean, it doesn't seem like much, but again, when you add it all up, like you can gain time back. If in your closet getting dressed in the morning, you can gain money back by eating all the food that you have in your pantry if it's not hidden behind
Or
rows of
going
other food,
expired like mine was years ago.
right? Or just choosing, say, oh, this is too much, I'm just going to go out to eat, you know? So there's all different benefits you can gain besides just the space and the lightness. So,
Yeah. And it does take work and effort, but when we put work into things, things can improve and you can do better. You have new habits, and that's the maintain in the reclaim process is what are the habits now that I have this space, now that I have this system, what am I going to do to keep this system going? So it's not just a one and done, but the hope is this is a lifestyle change for you, whether it's the junk drawer is now not a junk drawer, it's a utilitarian pen and scissor and marker drawer like mine has become. Or if it's, my closet is more organized. I know where my dress pants are. I know where to find my sweaters. I know things fit me. It can be really helpful just to know kind of where I'm at in life, and
mhm.
it gives space of where I want to go.
Yes. And this is a great time for like journaling or get out a sheet of paper. And if there's something you keep telling yourself, like, I don't have enough time. So, how can you reframe that? Maybe it's, I don't have time. And then the reframe is, I have 10 minutes a day. I have 20 minutes a day. I'm going to go through one category a day. You know, what can you sustain that's going to be maintainable, that's not overwhelming,
Right.
that you can achieve?
Right.
And that momentum will help you keep going.
Yeah.
That dopamine hit, you know?
I know. It feels really great whenever you spend like 15, 30 minutes on a space and you start to see, there's a little bit of the deconstruction that happens. You're like, ooh, then, we get into like the 45 minutes and there's like a pile of discard. There's a
Mhm.
pile of, I need to put that in another space. There's a pile of that's being kept. And then you get to categorize that space to make it more functional for you. So the hope is we don't have to spend this time and have to do all this work, but I get to practice this and I'm going to have a space that functions and feels better for me in my home and in my life.
Another reframe I've done is anytime, like once I get the box filled for donations or whatnot, I look at that box and I look at the physical space it takes up. And so I think, not that this much stuff is leaving. It's like, wow, this much stuff, this much space has been freed up. Like I have been storing this stuff that I'm either not using, I don't really value it, or it's just been sitting there and someone else can use it now while it's still
Right.
still
Useful.
well, it's still useful. There you go. It's not stretched out, it's not faded. While it's still useful. And I gain this space, and so I think that's been really helpful for me.
Yeah. We are in the month of February, and last month we did a challenge of one item a day in the month of January to take and just decide you're ready for it to leave your house. It can be something as small as a comb, something as big as a big portrait, a painting like my husband and I chose to do. But looking at that, just what we had completed in the 1 month, I had two large storage bins that is now not in my home of items. And so my hope is to continue throughout the month of February and throughout the month of March and all the way
Mhm.
through, finding one item a day that I'm not using well or that isn't serving me well. And not alone, it starts to add up a little bit at a time. And it's a habit that I hope to continue. And I hope my family continues to use that. We don't always have to have more to feel as though we have enough, or I don't have to have
Mhm.
more to help me accomplish what I need in life. Sometimes I have what I need, or it's not being used. I need something different. There needs
Mhm.
to be something else to replace that because I don't use that in the same way. I need a different tool or a different item that fits my lifestyle. And so it's okay to grow, it's okay to change. But our hope is we're changing in a direction that feels good, that feels positive, and that feels
Yes.
hopeful.
And I know a lot of times too, a lot of people have retail therapy, they want something like, oh, this is cute, this is going to make me happy, I'm going to just buy this quick little thing. But if you ask yourself, okay, well, what am I giving up to have this new item in my home? Is it worth that? Or, once this comes in my home, this is something else that I'm going to have to try and maintain and find a place and give emotional time to. and physical space and financial money. So it's like, again, there's no right or wrong. It's just, what do you want for your space, and what are your goals for your life? So
yeah, it's that life balance. And I think that changing that reframe of I have to do this work to I get to make a space that feels good for me in my home, or I get to make choices about what stays in my home, or I can choose what to keep and how to use that and what things are no longer serving me.
yes. So if this has registered with you, or if you've had, time to read our book or think about it, what reframes have you done in your home that have helped you to create a space that
Yes.
functions really well for you and feels good for you and your family? So let us know in the comments below. If you're enjoying our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a review, subscribe, follow, share with your friends and family, and we'll see you next week.